We have been discussing about three types of 7 things. The first we discussed with sannyasa, sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. Later on we also discussed jnanam, then karma, then karta. After karta comes buddhi, then comes dhruti, finally sukham. While discussing about sukham, in the previous verse we also discussed about sattvic sukham. The main point in the sukham was highlighted that any sukham will come to an end. Whether it is sattvika sukham, whether it is rajasika sukham or tamasika sukham. So sukha means your happiness. But even though these 3 types of sukham, or in short sukham, will come to an end, but being instinct, being natural to me, I definitely will look for, like hunger. As long as this body exists, that long body needs food. But what type of food body needs, that is not instinctive, that is something deliberate, depends upon my choice. That I want sukham is instinctive. But what sort of sukham I want completely depends upon me. Based on that, the first sukham that we discussed is called sattvika sukham, where in the beginning yat agre visham iva pariname amrutopamam. So in the beginning, if we observe, it will appear as though very painful. So that means if we see this point very carefully, how it works. Because what it wants to communicate, any, let us say, we take up any discipline, that is the best word. Definitely, in the beginning, it will be very painful because one has to really work. So when the person starts working for it, disciplining one's own self, we have lot of pain. But once that becomes the part of life, then you adapt it, you accept it. In short, this sattvic sukham is something that is born out of one's own self. It is internal, it is not external. It does not depend upon external factor. Where we concluded that the sattvika sukham is called vidyananda iti. Also, he used the word atma buddhi prasadajam. So if it is atma buddhi prasadajam, born out of the clarity of self-knowledge. So we very carefully we said that this is something what? Definitely related to jnanam. So when it is related to jnanam, this happiness does not depend upon anybody or any factor. Now, being this, you can say Vidyananda or you can say Atmananda. Now, this Vidyananda or Atmananda happens very nicely in everybody's life if little bit intelligence is there. But common people are different. So when I say common people are different, we have a beautiful saying, like when we are studying this Shubhasitani, we used to study Kavyasastra Vinodane Kalaha Gacchati Dhimata Vyasanena cha mrkhanam nidraya kalahena va. It's a beautiful way in our childhood we used to, we remember this. So this will explain both Sattvic and Rajasic and Tamasic, I would rather say, all Sukham. 3 Sukham in one verse. So the verse says that Kavyasastra Vinodena Kalaha Gacchati Dhimatam. Dhimatam, Buddhimatam. The one who is a learned person, the one who is a mature person, his time goes, or the person spends time. How the person spends time or his time goes? By studying Shastra and different literatures. So that means studying, reflecting this time the person spends. That's why Vidyananda, that means what? Sattvic Sukham. Can you see this point? Whereas Murkhanam, so Murkhaha means the one who doesn't understand or doesn't want to understand both, okay? So when you don't want to understand, you are Tamas. When you don't understand, you are Rajas, okay? So sometimes you are the mixture of both, okay? So they are mixture of both, like, we call Mudha. Puja Swamiji used to call Murkha and Mudha, there is a difference. However, so whether it is Murkhanam or Mudhanam, let us not talk that in details. But he says, Vyasenena cha Murkhanam. So the Murkha, the one who really does not want to understand or who don't understand both way, always engaged in Vyasena. Vyasena means what? In lavish way of living with comfort. So I need my comfort at any cost. First me, my comfort, then everything can go to hell, let it go wherever it goes. If my comfort is not taken care, so what is the fun of life? What for I am living? Do you know this hedonist say highlight? What I highlight? Yavat jivet sukham jivet, yavat jivet sukham jivet. So as long as you live, yavat jivet sukham jivet. As long as you live happily, nothing wrong in it. Fantastic. Runam krutva ghrutam pivet. Even if you don't bother whether you beg, borrow or steal, okay? This is my... So drink ghee. Because those days ghee, ghrutam vai ayuhu. So ghee indeed was longevity. Because they have a logic also. Do you know what the logic? Have you ever seen Bhasmi Hutasya Dehasya Punaragamanam Kuta? Have you ever seen a person who has gone to the cremation ground to get buried or burnt? Has that fellow come back? Nobody comes back. So what is the fun of my life? If I am here for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, how does it matter to me? Let me live my life the way I want. So this is the subconscious mind projection. Present generation is like that. They don't care, they don't bother. They want to enjoy their life at any cost. So, Vyasanena cha murkhana. That's not enough. He uses this word. Nidraya kalahena va. Sometimes kalahena cha, kalahena va. Or va means or. Nidra. Sleep. So no compromise with my sleep, okay? My comfort. Why you sleep? Please understand. Body needs sleep is different. But when your ego is being challenged, your mind gets switched off. You also go to sleep. Have you not observed that? That is more dangerous. That is more painful. That's why many people, when they sleep to wake up, they engage that ego in what? In munching food. Because you have to wake up. There are a lot of psychological impacts are there. You cannot think of how it happens, why it happens. So each one has got their own problem. That's not a point here. Point is that nidraya. The person wants to sleep not only physically, sleeping to one's own idea, sleeping with one's own idea. So what I know, what I think, that is final. That is right. All others are fool. What do they know? So that's why you understand which category of sukham they look. Not only that, kalahena va. So kalahena means finding out mistakes, how to argue, how to establish one's own self. So why you get into kalaha? There is no other reason. You get into argument not for the sake of argument. Because you feel you are wrong, but you are not able to accept that you are wrong. If you know you are right, is it necessary to get into argument? Because you know very well you are right, why to waste your time? Let the person say you are wrong, yes, thank you. But if you know that you are wrong and you accept that you are wrong, is it necessary to fight or argue? Because you know that you are wrong, you accept it. But the problem is deep within, subconsciously, somewhere in the corner, you know you are wrong, but you want to avoid. You are not able to accept that you are wrong. But you think you are right because of circumstances. And of course, psychology will say what? Because of my childhood problem. Poor parents, okay? Because of my upbringing, because of my society, because of this situation, that situation. And they will tell you, Swamiji, you don't understand our problem. Then what can I say? Better I should not understand your problem, okay? Now, kalahenava. If that person spends time, then what happens? You can understand how people derive happiness. I know very well. Especially, this married couple. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm bringing a very sensitive topic today, okay? After a few years of living together, sometimes life becomes very painful, boring. Same munji, and especially when child goes away. As long as child is there is something common factor, okay? I remember one fellow told very nicely, I cannot forget that. An American, very big fellow, he said, look, to be very honest, I was able to survive with my wife because if I do anything wrong or anywhere anything goes wrong, I always put the blame on my child. So poor child was blamed, but I was able to keep the relationship intact. Now my child has gone for study. Now definitely very soon divorce will come. Because there is no one to be blamed. I cannot call, or maybe I have to bring over phone, okay? That fellow told me do this, do that, that's why I did it. What I am highlighting here is, please, it's not a serious matter. What I am trying to highlight here is that many couple, when there is nothing to do, but there is a system, and they love to fight to enjoy happiness. And they will say on the top of it, that also I have heard, every day if you eat sweet, you will become diabetic. Once in a while you need to have some bitter food. So that's, scolding each other, shouting or disagreeing with each other. It's like, bitterness that will bring both of us together. What a logic. However, get into too much. So with this background, let us look at what Lord Krishna wants to highlight. So verse number 38, Rajasam Sukham iti. Visendriya Sanyogat Yattat Agre Mutopamam Pariname Visham Eva Tatsukham Rajasam Smrutam. So in Sattvika Sukham case, it was being highlighted that Agre Visham but Pariname Amrutam. In the beginning it is painful like poison, but at the end it is Amrutam. It is nectar, very interesting. So that means here is little different. He says, Tat Sukham Rajasam Srutam. That Sukham, that happiness is called Rajasam. What is that? He says, Yat Amrutopamam Agre is opposite way. That which is like a nectar in the beginning. But Parinami, in the end, Bisam Iva is like poison. Completely opposite. Sattvika Sukham, difficult, painful in the beginning, but in the end, it is interesting. It is definitely useful, better, and like a nectar. Whereas here, in the beginning, it is very much interesting, but later on becomes painful. How? He says, look, because he gives this beautiful point also, highlights, Visaya Indriya Sayogat. This Sukham, that which is called as Rajasic Sukham, this Rajasam Sukham is born out of. What it is born out of? Vishaya Indriya Sayogat. This is born out of the contact between sense object and sense organs. So that means being Vishayajanyam. That means it is derived from the object. So all these Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, all these Vishayas. When these are the Vishayas, now for these sense objects, I need also sense organs. That means when the sense organs come in contact with sense objects, a one type of attachment that is being developed based on the information that creates one type of happiness. And that happiness is called here as Rajasic. Clear? Now, in this sort of happiness, we have a lot of problem. So what is the problem? Because we need to, make a diagram clearly. The first one, as we said, any happiness, any sukham has antam. It has to come to an end. This also has to come to an end, no problem. Sattvik also come to an end, this also will come to an end. That's not a problem. But that one, in the beginning, painful, later on, interesting. Here, beginning interesting, later on, painful. Opposite way. Like somebody says beautifully, now decide. Do you want to listen? There is one good news, there is one bad news. So which do you want to listen to first? First, good news or bad news? So many people say, okay, tell me the good news. Some people, no, tell me the bad news. You know how your mind set up. It's not like that. You can change it here. But here, whether it's good news or bad news, both are news, okay? Means it is related to you. It is not you. So Sukham that you are looking at has got one point that is come to an end that we are discussing, but we are discussing or going to discuss later on differently. However, here it says, being Vastujanyam, being, let us say, Vishayajanyam, instead of Vastujanyam, object, Vastu means your object. So being Vishayajanyam. So that means being depend upon or association with, in contact with sense objects. Now there are many factors are involved. That means Rajasa Sukham always is dependent Sukham. It's not independent Sukham. Clear? Let us say I am thinking of Rasgulla. I don't know why today I am Rasgulla coming, okay? So I am thinking of Rasgulla. Rasgulla is a very good sweet, okay? In Odisha we have. Very nice sweet. Not like no Chennai Rasgulla, okay? Like sponge. So when you look at this Rasgulla, now the moment there has to be a thought and I see the Rasgulla. Now eyes comes in contact with that Rasgulla, now there is some type of happiness. When I see in the shop, I discover only 4 or 5 Rasgullas are there. But in front of me, somebody comes and says, look, oh, only 5, give me all 5. What will happen to me? Already I had, derived some type of happiness. All my happiness is gone because somebody took it away. Just example sake I am saying it. Because being dependent on sense objects, this happiness is always dependent. That means is not reliable. It is exactly like Indian electricity. In India, we all have electricity, don't worry. But it is not dependable. And I am not telling you jokes. Right time, the day you need electricity, that day that fellow will go off. I don't know how they know, okay? They read your mind, okay? Like, how WhatsApp, how this Facebook and other social media reads you, they listen to you. Same thing also, these people, they know very well. I don't know how. That's why in India, every houses, we have a backup. Batteries and other things, we make sure, emergency backup. That's why when overseas people come, they think, oh, everything is okay, but they don't understand, they make mess, okay? Because it's not like that. There is a backup. Backup has got its limitation. However, coming to the point, how the Indian electricity is not reliable. So also, Rajasam Sukham is unreliable. Is it clear? Whereas Sattvika Sukham is reliable because you are UPS, okay? You are with backup. Now, not only that, because we need to really look into many angles. Here, when we see that this is not reliable, that means dependable, my happiness always will fluctuate and I cannot count on this sort of happiness. But the problem here is the mind is so extrovert, and especially because of association with the sense objects and sense organs, the association between sense organs and sense objects, I would like to go for more and more Rajasam Sukham. Because in Rajasam Sukham, ego is being nourished directly. The gross ego is very much stronger in Rajasam Sukham. That's why people love this Rajasam Sukham. Okay? Then what about Tamasa? Because let us also discuss what is Tamasa with that verse. That's why I took it. It becomes easier. So the verse says nicely. Let us read. Yadagre chanuvandhe cha sukham mohanam atmanah nidralasya pramadotham tattamasa udahrutam. So nice way to look at. This is called tamas. And what is that? It is something called mohana atmanaha. So atmanaha mohanam iti. That means what? Is basically self-deluding. And interestingly, this sukham, this happiness, or you can say tat sukham, that happiness, you have to refer as that, not this. That happiness, yad agre cha anubandhe, unlike sattvic and Rajasic. What is Sattvika Sukham and Rajasam Sukham? Sattvika Sukham was in the beginning Dukkham, Pariname Sukham. Whereas Rajasic, in the beginning Sukham, Pariname Amrutam or Sukham. No, Pariname Dukkham, sorry. Sukham Dukkham, okay? Whereas this one, Agre cha anubandhe. Agre means in the beginning cha and anubandhe at the end. Both dukkham. In the beginning it is dukkham, also towards end dukkham. Atmanaha mohanam, because it is self-deluding. It's like, I close my eyes and I see, oh, still it is night. Let me sleep some more time. We do that, okay? And you have got nice excuse. I'm tired. Last night lot of things I did it. Or whole day I did it. Oh, today is a big day. Let me sleep some more time. Does your body need or mind need? That you need to ask. That's why he says beautifully, Nidra alasya pramada uttam. So this Sukham is born out of Nidra, sleep, Alasya, laziness, and Pramada, negligence. What a beautiful discrimination. Huh? If this is the case, also we need to look at why all these things happens. If you observe your life, anytime a person is connected to this tamasa sukham, that time the person is very much comfortable with his or her cocoon. Because the person has created a self-protective layer, not discipline, okay? Self-protective layer. The person is so insecure, especially the person is being beaten up by this Raja Sukham. Can you see this point? Sattvika Sukham, forget. So when the person is being beaten up, being fed up with Rajasa Sukham, now that person develops a self-defensive mechanism. And with that self-defensive mechanism wants to protect. I know what I am doing. Even though it is not healthy, it is not good for that person. Sometimes the person knows, but does not have strength to accept, to change, to improve. And this set of person, please understand, because of pramada. So pramada here we highlight as negligence. And why the negligence comes? Because you have taken everything for granted. Because unless and until you take things, people for granted, and of course yourself for granted, can you develop the negligence? That's why here it's being said, this sort of sukham is not going to give you any benefit. In the beginning, it is painful. Of course, towards end, painful. But you are acquainted with the painful situation. That gives you very happiness, comfortable, because you are alive. And with this sort of people, if anybody lives for some time, that fellow also will become painful. I have observed myself. I am not telling you jokes, with due respect. Why I am getting irritated, or why do I get irritated with people? If you observe, please, with a very personal note I am telling today. Whenever I discover that you are interested in tamasa sukham, this is my personal note today I am telling openly. Of course, when I discover the place is more and more tamasic, and the person is tamas sukha oriented, I get irritated. Because if I don't get irritated, I will become tamas. This is my problem, okay? And moreover, people are coming to me. If I become a tamas, will anybody will come to me? Will you come to listen to my talk? But you all want, Swamiji should not get irritated. Swamiji must accommodate. Yes, I am ready to accommodate. Be wherever you are. I don't have any problem. It's like, I am having class. So you are in the class, but you will behave the way you want. And Swamiji should be kind. Will it be possible? Hey, I am talking to people. I am not a professor, okay? I remember one Swamiji, with this I will stop it today. Very nice Swamiji. I really respect him. So I asked him, Swamiji, you are talking very slow and very nice, repeating, and you don't bother who is coming, who is not coming. What is all about it? How did you develop? He said, it's due course of time. When I discovered people are not interested in Vedanta, but I am interested for my nitidhyasanam, automatically I adopt this method. Maturity. He used this word very nicely. When I discovered that people are not interested in Vedanta, but I am interested in my nitidhyasanam, I adopted this method. I think I also should adopt that. What I should do is, like, for example's sake, I should not see any one of you. If I don't see any one of you, I will come with the prepared talk and get out. And you will say, Swami is so kind, so nice. And I am not telling you jokes, there will be more number of people. You will also invite more people. Oh, Swamiji's class is very interesting, very nice, because he doesn't challenge. So he allows you to be in your sukham, whether it is tamasi sukham or rajasic sukham or sattvic sukham. I think I should enjoy that slowly. Thank you very much. Please. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.